The lesson of distraction. Stealthily, the apostles slowly became exhausted. On the surface, it was not noticeable for a long time, but due to factors such as the recurring tensions between them and the apostles of John the Baptist, the tensions that had arisen in Jerusalem with the established religious order, the much travel which had been, at times, flight in disguise, the many problems and sicknesses they found behind front doors during their pastoral visits, the uneasy contacts they made with the Samaritans and the other non-Jewish groups, minor personal irritations among themselves now that they had been together for weeks, and statements Jesus had made that confused their thinking, all suddenly sent most of the apostles into a depressed state of overexcitement. In short, the atmosphere in the group had suddenly turned. Of all the apostles, only the twin brothers still reacted normally and unruffled. Andrew, the leader of the apostles, had lost control and did not know what to do, so he went to the Master with his confusing problems. When Jesus had listened to all his worries and difficulties, he said, "Andrew, when the vision becomes so cloudy because of the problems, and the mind becomes confused so that it can no longer think clearly, and when the feelings of all concerned flare up violently, then there is little point in talking. I cannot get involved in the personal difficulties that have arisen between us because I do not want to create the illusion that I am taking sides. Come, let's take 3 days of rest together, to relax. Let's climb Mount Sartaba together, and camp at the summit for a few days. Now go to your 11 brothers, and take each one separately in private and say to them, 'The Master desires that we seclude ourselves for a few days to rest. Since we have all lately become spiritually irritated and tense, we are going to climb a mountain, and the Master expressly asks us not to talk among ourselves during these few days about our difficulties and worries that concern us.' And Andrew did as the Master had instructed him. In the experience of each of them, this was a delightful outing. They would never forget the day they went up the mountain. During the entire trip, hardly a word was spoken about their difficulties. When they had reached the top of the mountain, Jesus had them all take their seats around him and said, 'Brothers, you must all learn to understand the value of rest and the usefulness of relaxation. Sometimes external factors get you caught up in problems, and then the best method to get out of them is to let them rest for a while. Then, when your mind is refreshed by rest, you can tackle your difficulties with a clearer head and a firmer hand, not to mention a more determined heart. And also, you will often find that the problems have shrunk in size and proportion. If you press a spoon to your eye, you will see nothing. If, however, you hold it at arm's length, then it is only a small object that does not obstruct vision." The next day, Jesus instructed each of the 12 to recall old pleasant memories and share them with the group. They were not to be related to their religious work. The beautiful view which the mountaintop offered them and the undisturbed gathering in the open air did these men good. It became a wonderful day in which they were very attentive to each other and in which there was much laughter. They were even shocked for a moment when Jesus failed to give thanks when he broke the bread for their midday meal. This was the first time they had not seen him observe this formality. When they began their descent on the 3rd day to return to their camp, their minds were refreshed. Unconsciously, they now understood that many complex problems of man do not exist in reality, that many oppressive difficulties are created by exaggerated fears and are the product of overanxiousness. They had learned that such complex problems were best dealt with by leaving them alone. By getting away for a while, the emotion was flattened and the angle somehow disappeared out of the problem. Their return from this outing marked the beginning of a period when relations with the followers of John the Baptist improved. The apostles were relieved when they noticed how their spirits had changed and that they were freed from their nervous irritability. The work among the Gentiles in the two Greek cities of Archelaus and Phasaelis was not fruitful. But the 12 apostles gained valuable experience in that this was the first time they had worked extensively among an exclusively Gentile population. After 2 weeks, Jesus said to Andrew, "We are going to Samaria." And they immediately set out for the city of Sychar, close to Jacob's well.